You have a presentation tomorrow and you haven't prepared. Maybe it appeared last moment, or maybe you just don't want to spend time on that and now you're panicking. Well, that's not very good, but in the next 10 minutes, I will try to give you some tips and tricks that can help you quickly improve the way you're presenting and probably save your reputation. I'm Greg, co founder of Bismarck Communication Studios, and for about 10 years, I've been helping all sorts of people to get better with their public speaking skills. And I've watched some last minute preparation. And trust me, I know exactly what not to spend time on. Don't spend time on improving your posture or voice or, I don't know, hand gestures, because all that fades away instantly when you go on stage without enough preparation because you're under pressure, under stress, and in that situation, we are just defaulting to our basic settings, and all this last minute prep just fades away. So, probably most last minute presentation advice will make it worse, but I will do my best to give you simple, quick to implement, and high leverage tips that can help you improve. To use them and to implement them, think of your speech like a chain. It has 4 links, and if one link is weakened, well, probably the whole chain won't hold. The links are attention, comprehension, judgment, and retention. Let's see how they work and what you can do to improve each of them. And the first link is attention. Here, your goal is to A, grab the attention of the audience, but B, to make them want to pay attention, because this will make it way easier for you to keep them engaged throughout the whole presentation. And there are several steps to do that. And the first one is to change your background. Imagine you're in a bar with a friend. You're having a good conversation, you're quite engaged, but there's a TV screen on the wall beside your friend. And you can't help sometimes, just staring at it. Because there, the picture is moving. Sound might not even be on, but the picture is moving, but the picture is changing, and your brain just subconsciously focuses your attention on that. Use this effect to grab the attention of the audience. Change the background. If you use slide, change them more frequently. For example, if you have a big slide with lots of text or bullet points, don't show them all at once. Show them steadily, one by one. If you tend to speak louder, try to lower your voice whenever you're coming to the main point. Those simple techniques will help you to grab the attention of the audience. Then you need to keep their attention. And for that, try to start with the explanation of why this topic and this presentation is important for them. Be as specific as you can. Talk about their values or about their interests or about their backgrounds, whatever it is. Just make sure that you are explaining them clearly why they should listen to you, and start with that. Then, very simple thing, but don't forget to share an agenda. Explain 2 to 4 things that you will be covering in this presentation. This will help people to build sort of a mind map of your presentation in their head before you start talking, and this will make it way easier for them to comprehend what you're talking about, because it will help them to follow your thoughts easily because they already know where to go. And the last one, probably the most difficult one, but ask curiosity question. What do I mean by that? You probably know that asking in the beginning of your presentation, have you ever been in a situation like this, is sort of a cliche. Yeah, well, it is. But the idea is a good one. Try just changing it a little. Try going one step further. For example, instead of just asking, have you been in this situation, or do you know this problem? Say, well, you obviously know the problem X, but do you know what is causing this problem? This way, you are creating an inner dialogue inside the audience's head, and this helps to drag them into your presentation. If you think that this advice is useful so far, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and we're moving on. Now to the second link, comprehension. People need to feel that they understand what you're talking about. Maybe they won't understand 100%, but in general, they should be confident that they understand what you're saying. So here are some quick wins for that. First one, highlight the main idea. Make sure that you know how to communicate the main idea of your presentation in one not very long sentence. Even if you will not just say it out loud at the presentation, make sure you know how to do that, because this helps you to see the whole picture of your presentation better, and this helps you to communicate your ideas clearly. And also, it is a good thing to share this main idea in the very beginning of your presentation as well. This way, you will help people to get on the same page with you. The second tip is to use analogies. Whenever you are explaining a complex concept, a complex thought, a complex idea, always make an example and make sure this example is clear for the audience you're performing in front of. Because no matter how good you are at explaining complex things, people will always crave for an example of this complex thing applied to the reality. And the last one, check-ins. It's not always viable, but you can try doing that. For example, in the end of the big part of your presentation, you can stop for a second and ask your audience, does it make sense so far? Or you can say, can you think of an example of the same thing from your work? This will help people to understand if they're on board, and this would also help you to understand where they are. And if they are not following, you can give extra explanation or spend a little bit more time on some point that you've made. Here comes the third link, judgment. And this is probably the trickiest one. This is the part where people decide if they generally like what they're hearing or not, if they believe you, if they trust you. And this is not so straightforward as a comprehension part, but I will try to give you some hints here as well. So the very basic thing that you can do to make the judgment link stronger is to use a personal story. Pick one thing you want to illustrate, probably the most controversial one, and create a 30-second simple story that will help you to prove that you personally believe in what you're saying. You can use a framework like this. I used to do X, then I learned Y, now I believe Z. This way, your information in the presentation become a little bit more personal, and this will create a bigger room for a conversation, even if people disagree with you in general. The second thing that helps to strengthen the judgment link is data, but data should be used wisely. Because the trick is that when people don't know much about the topic you're presenting or about the idea you're presenting, data would probably help them to believe that you are correct. However, if they already are strongly opinionated about the thing you're discussing, more data that tries to prove them wrong would probably make them more defensive instead of being more open for the conversation. This might be a little bit counterintuitive, but I'm discussing this in another video, so you can check this out if you want to learn more about this process. So if your audience is already opinionated, if they already don't think that you're right, start with a story and focus on more emotional connection than just data and facts that will prove your position. And the last one, you can do a quick trust test before you go into presentation. Just think, would those people in the room stay for coffee with me for 15 minutes after the presentation, or they will want to leave immediately after I'm done? And if the answer is they want to leave, well, maybe you're doing it a little bit wrong. Now the fourth link, retention. And this is the part where you just need to make sure that people already have a motivation to do what you ask them to do, and they have a clear way of doing that. So for motivation part, you should work on all previous steps. You will build this motivation during attention, during working on comprehension and judgment. So if they have this motivation, now you have to give them a clear way to execute. Because after your presentation, you usually ask them to either remember what you're saying or do something upon it. And here are some quick wins for that. First, call to action. Do a clear call to action. Make it clear in the very end of your presentation what do you expect from people in the end. I hear it mostly from C-levels who listen to hundreds of presentations a month, I guess, from all their employees. And the most frequent question they're asking, okay, what do you want from me? So give this answer to your audience before they have a chance to ask this question themselves. This will save you lots of time, and this will make them feel more motivated to actually do what you're asking them to do. The second thing that you can do is to explain clearly where to go for more information after the presentation. Maybe it's a QR code that links to a website. Maybe it's a contact, maybe it's your personal contact, or maybe it's a contact of your colleague who might answer more, I don't know, more technical questions. So just make sure you are explaining where to go somewhere after the presentation is done. And the last one, get rid of thank you slide in the end. This thing ruins so much. Well, it's not the end of the world, but this slide would probably be on screen for the longest period of time compared to any other slide of the presentation, so use it to get some effect out of it. For example, put a call to action to it. Make some takeaways that people can see in the end of the presentation. Add a QR code, add a contact, whatever it is. Just use this slide for something meaningful, not just thanking the audience. So, why all those tips and tricks will work? Well, that's because they are based on a cognitive load theory. And forgive me if you're looking at that and you know exactly what it is, but I will try to explain it very simply now. Basically, what it says is that when we're listening to new information, there are two types of loads our brain experiencing. The first one is useful load. This is where our brain says, yeah, I want to know more about it. I'm curious about it. Tell me more. And this is the load you are creating by implementing all those tips and tricks I've told you about. And there is a second type of load that is harmful load. And this is the thing where something gets in the way of our brain when it tries to comprehend the new information. For example, it might be bad sound, bad quality of pictures on the presentation, small fonts, etc., etc., etc. So try to maximize useful load and try to minimize harmful load. This way, you will be doing great on the presentation. And that's it. Here's your emergency toolkit. Remember, it's not the full treatment. Obviously, this is just the first steps that you can make very quickly to improve your presentation. You can view it as sort of a checklist that you can go through when you're rehearsing, but there's one key thing missing. Do a dry run. Before you are presenting, rehearse it at least once. Because if you will not rehearse it, if you will not speak out loud every word of your presentation, all those tips and tricks would be absolutely useless. Trust me, I see so many speakers who present for the first time and then they present for the second time and suddenly their presentation get by 1/3 shorter than the first time. Like if your presentation was 15 minutes when you presented first time, it would probably get closer to 10 the second time you're presenting. Imagine 5 minutes of complete rubbish of you finding the right words, building sentences, finding right ideas. Instead, you can just do it once, do this rehearsal once, and then the second run will be unimaginably better. So, if you do that, I'm sure you will be good with this presentation that is coming up. If you want a bigger version of this checklist, you can check out the comment section. I've added a link to it. It's free. You can use it. And if you want more science-based communication advice, subscribe to this channel. I'm sharing a new one every week. Now, go nail this presentation and see you next time.